So today, I wanted to talk about what separates the good people from everybody else. What separates the most successful people in our society today from everybody else. And what separates those people that will have success in the future than everybody else. Even success in the past. So first off, we have to define success as not a tangible thing that we are going towards. You're going to say, oh, that's an abstract noun in the literal sense, and that is true. But people keep thinking about the idea that success is tangible. You have to obtain it. You have to have it. You don't have it. You reach towards it. Success is not reaching there. It's not the top of the mountain that once you reach there, you're done. It's the endless stairs. When you're going to the final Bowser stage, Mario 64. It's endless. There is no shortcut because there's no way. Because success, you may run towards success, but success runs away from you. And many of these successful people, they embrace this idea that success, they ultimately think that success, people will think of them as successful people, but they think of themselves as success. Let's take Melville's book, Moby Dick. Very classic. Everybody should read that book. But at the time it was published, it did not sell well. And then it didn't sell well after 5 years. It didn't sell well after 10 or 20 or 30 or 40. It was all the way to decades after he died. And then people finally caught steam of it. And it got popular, and now it's one of the most famous books of all time. But what did he think when it was not selling well? Oh, it's a failure? No. The moment he published it, he must have thought, man, it was a success. I put all this time into it, and finally it paid off. I was able to publish it. That's a success. Well, success, he never saw the tangible evidence. He never saw the large sales that were coming. Even if he were alive 100 years more, when sales were booming of his books, he would think he was successful at that book. The same thing, the same time, to the same extent that when he just first was started with the book, because he got the ideas down, put time into it, putting his ideas onto paper, sending them out to the whole world. Now it probably started with a few friends, then a community, then a state, then a country, then the whole world. But he first started with for himself. He had a worldview about that was going to be one step towards the ultimate dream of what he wanted to be in life. And the reason why it was so unpopular is that it really was unpopular. People didn't like the book. It got criticized a lot. But so what? People call him as successful. He probably thinks himself as successful. People even scientists, many scientists that we now know are geniuses, who founded made the groundwork for the intellectual ideas that we have today in science. They were very unpopular when they first came out. I mean, Galileo, I mean, Copernicus, I mean, you name everybody, Newton, and so on and so forth. They're successful people. They call themselves successful. I keep talking about success a lot, and then there's another word that's the polar opposite. It's called failure. Well, how do you fail? How do you fail at something? People say, "Oh, I tried so hard. I tried so hard on the test, and I studied a lot, yet and I only got a 70%." And they make all the excuses, but I would stop there. I would probably just interrupt and say, "Oh, that was a success for you. You did a good job. Regardless of the results. The questions that the teacher could throw at you are uncontrollable, but we can't control how much we study, how much we're prepared, how much we eat before the test, any other preparations we have before the big day." That's success. You feel success. It's not a feeling. It's progress. Even if you got that 70%, it laid the groundwork for the 80 and the 90 and then eventually the 100%. It's never ending. Success, you never catch up to success. The only way to fail is if you deliberately make an effort to not put in that work into it. Us humans are naturally inclined, because we are a competitive species. We thrive on competition. And so when something arrives and there's competition, there's the opportunity for competition, we take it. And what does that entail? We work harder. We try to work harder than everybody else. And so we're naturally inclined to put a lot of effort into what we're doing. I mean, let's say if I stop playing piano for 5 years. I've been playing, let's say I was playing piano for 5 years, stopped for a year, and then came back. If let's say, and because you quit because, oh, I hated piano, but then you come back to it for some reason. Well, you're naturally inclined to work hard, to de-rust, and even get better, elevate your game, elevate your music beyond where you left off. It's natural. Us humans have the capacity to do many things. If you thought that piano was a waste of time and you deliberately make an effort to stay away from piano, okay. That was a little blunder. Doesn't make your whole life a failure. We focus on all the things. We focus on the one thing that is failure. It's like on the news. We focus on only the bad stuff. Because the good stuff, people take that for granted. People take what's good for granted. They don't actually recognize what exactly is good about this action. And then when, let's say, like a disease comes around, we're all scared about it. Because everybody talks about it in a negative sense. But we ignore the thousands and millions of microbes that are make us good. We only talk about the 1,000 or so species that are bad, that are considered bad. We make them look like they're 99% of all microbes on the planet. In reality, they're actually less than 1%. So we are fixated. We're fixated to accept things. We're fixated to just speak our opinion, with no matter what, and that's good. Society today is much more free, especially in the United States, you know. But in the process, it derailed conversation. It made us alienated, question, how do we become better? Instead of taking other people's opinions and formulate them in a way where we can have an intelligent and insightful conversation about a problem, and maybe we can work in agreement, or we are open to change our minds. We are very close-minded now. We interrupt more. See, in schools, when you raise your hand, and we reward stepping in. We reward stepping in and just talking whatever they want. That's an extreme example of compared to like people who those are quiet and never raise their hand. But it just shows that we don't take other people's opinion as lightly now. I'm not defending those people that are unpopular, that are famous just because they want to make it a strict effort to be unpopular. But you cannot be satisfied. You cannot be satisfied where you're at. Yeah, it doesn't mean that you cannot be happy at all. But when you look at the worldview, you have to think that there's more. You just have to think in general. Just think about it. Think about anything. Because when you think, there has to be something that you think, and it will become a good idea. When you think, something's going to be good, not all of it's going to be bad. It's just your opinion about it. And we need more thinking in our lives. We need thinking in society to progress forward. You're not complacent. You shouldn't be complacent. If I hand you $1 million and I ask what you do, and if you would say, "Oh, I would go to vacations," or not vacations. I'm sorry. I would just stay home for the rest of my life, living great. Yeah, it gets good after 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, but when it gets to 300 days, 600 days, 1,000 days, 10,000 days, you have a sense of tingling. This is not normal. I wasted my time just doing nothing. And everybody knows the worst thing a person can do is to do nothing. So what do? You think. Think about what you can do to be better. There's something that you can take to action. You take it to your heart. Do what you need to do. That's how we move forward. That's how we get successful. Because when you know what you want to do, you lay out the steps. All you have to do is follow those steps. With the right amount of motivation, you put a great amount of effort into that, you cannot fail. There will be bumps in the road in terms of results. But those results don't mean you fail the whole operation. You have to look at the little victories. It's why everybody says, "Oh, you cherish the little victories." Because they're right. And everybody likes victories, right? See, those who think and know what they want to do in life, and when they reach towards it, they are considered successful. And the process of being who you want to be in life, the process of self-actualization, self-realization, self-transcendence, is what makes them happy, what makes them feel successful, what makes them think they're heading towards success. They know they're never reaching success, ultimate success, but they're making an effort towards it. That's the greatest lesson we need to learn from today.